So in this video, I want to talk about the concept of keeping an astrological diary or an astrological journal. This is something that I've been doing since the 15th of December last year, so a little under a month. My first entry was on the 15th of December. And even though I've only really just started doing it, I've actually been forgetting to write in the last few days, but I've been meaning to get back into it, and I will get back into it. I've been just taking a little bit of a break from it, but I've actually been wanting to do an astrological journal or a diary for years. It's something that I've been wanting to just start doing to kind of be able to log better, to be able to understand better what's going on for me, what's going on maybe on the planet, and to really be able to track things a little bit better. And it's a way for me to also get closer to astrology and not just have it be something that I might look at it a bit more casually. I want to actually see the correlations in a way that is very practical, or at least is more nuanced and more practical than what it would have been previously. So I've always kind of seen the connections. I've always kind of, been able to understand later on in my learning of astrology, at least, I've been able to understand okay, how does this aspect manifest in this person or in me, or how does this transit manifest in me? Sometimes I can't see the correlation as well as I would like to, especially with transits. But I feel like keeping an astrological log, let's say, it's actually helpful in the sense that it actually helps me see intuitively how things are actually going around, and it's getting me even closer to astrology, and it makes me more excited about it, even because it's I'm actually doing something on a regular basis that is supporting my interest and that is supporting my understanding of the field. So it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I just never really got around to it because I was having kind of maybe doubts or not really understanding how to go about it, in the sense that I wasn't sure. First of all, I wasn't sure if I want to do it physically, writing in a physical diary, which I actually bought a physical diary for myself for this, which I never started using. And then I just realized, listen, I do so many things digitally, and I find it easier to type than write with my hand. And, I'm very digital now. So I started doing it on in a digital way. So on Google Docs, I do my astrological journal. And yeah, like I say, it's been getting me closer to astrology. It's helping me understand the nuance and the patterns more. And I feel like it's deepening my understanding, and it's something that I really recommend. And it's something that I've heard other people who are interested in astrology or astrologers, I've heard them recommend it as well, to keep some kind of log for yourself to kind of understand the patterns and how things are moving a little bit better. So my own astrological journal or diary is something that ideally I would write something into it every day, type something into it every day. This hasn't materialized yet, maybe because it's still something that I'm trying to make part of my, let's say, routine. And it hasn't quite gotten there. It hasn't got quite gotten to the level where I'm writing into it every day. But when I was first starting it, I was writing into it pretty much every day. It's just that the past week or so I haven't been doing it, but I'm I'm definitely planning on getting back into it. So I'm going to talk about some of the specifics of how I go about doing my astrological journal. And it's actually very simple. And it isn't something that I always found to be simple, in the sense that I was having a hard time figuring out how to do it in a way that works for me. Do I count everything? Do I count all the day's aspects, transits? What way do I do it? But eventually I found a method that right now works for me, and it's something that might change over time if I keep doing this for months or years. It's something that could change over time. But for now, it's a good starting point, at least. So if I ever change my method, or if it becomes more nuanced or detailed or deeper in some way, then I might even make another video, a follow-up video about some of the things that I've added to my method. But this is the way I'm doing it right now, what I'm going to be talking about now. So literally, I just have a Google Doc called Astrology Journal. I have my phone in my hand so I can look at it as I'm talking about it. So Astrology Journal, very simple, all very simple formatting, because that's just kind of what I prefer. Some people might want to use images, which would be nice actually, to have like a chart of the day or something, or certain maybe tarot card images or something that represents the day, or just other images that go well with how the day is going for you, or how, like, some of the things that correlate. Like, you might want to use images, but I personally haven't done images yet. It's something that I might incorporate in the future. But so then I literally just have the date. I put the day of the week as well. So for example, I have Monday, 15th December 2025. I always put the time as well. So 5:30 p.m. Well, I actually use the 24-hour. I like to use the 24-hour time. So I have 17:30. I think they call it the military time. And then what I do is, well, first of all, I start writing my entry, typing my entry when I feel like I have some time for myself, first of all, and I have enough understanding of how the day has gone for me. There's usually a moment that intuitively comes to me where I'm like, okay, I understand like what's going on today, or I'm starting to like feel into the energy of today. So it's usually in the evening that I would write, but not always. So I take some time to kind of reflect on the day. I don't force anything. I don't want to force anything with this journal. It's literally just letting it flow out of me, and intuitively things will come to me, and I will make the intuitive connections quite naturally. You know, especially because I've learned about astrology for quite a while. So it's like a natural extension of my already existing intuition. So it doesn't need to be forced, but it's something that, you know, some people might struggle with at first, to kind of put together the connections. But I'm just sharing like how I do it. Maybe it's helpful for someone. So I have the date, and then I have, I think about the day for a little bit, and then I put down what I do. First of all, I might change this in the future, like I say, but what I do right now is I put down general transits. And then I put down a list of some of the transits of the day, just the general transits in the sky right now that I feel are relevant for today. So for example, on the 15th of December, I had Moon in Scorpio, Moon square Pluto, Sun square Saturn, Sun square Neptune, wider orb. That's something that I'll note as well, is if something has a wider orb, or is out of sign, it's some kind of out of sign aspect, then I will put that in brackets. I will just note that it's out of sign, or it's a wider orb. But if I feel that it was relevant for the day, then I put it down. And then the next section is personal transits. So what I have going on in relation to my own chart that day. So for example, on the 15th of December, I had Moon square natal Saturn. So the moon in the sky was square my natal Saturn. And then Pluto square my natal moon. Pluto square natal moon. Ongoing longer transit in brackets, because that's something that I have going on in the longer term. You don't have to put that, but I just felt like I just felt like putting that it's an ongoing longer transit. So as you can see, there is a lot of like Pluto and Scorpio and moon stuff going on. And then it turned out to be quite an intense day. And then the third headline, let's say, is experiences / observations. So what I do is I write some of the things that have happened that day, or how I'm feeling that day, just anything, just let it flow. And then I would put in brackets, this is something that I wasn't actually doing on the first day, but I started doing it later on, is I added in brackets the transit of either the general transit or the personal transit that I felt is relevant to that paragraph or that sentence. So for example, let's say on the 17th of December, I had, for example, I have a sentence that says, something turned into a philosophical conversation between me and someone. So I have a sentence like, it turned into a somewhat philosophical and psychological conversation where we were talking about beliefs. And then brackets, I put Sagittarius, Jupiter, Mercury trine Jupiter, because the moon entered Sagittarius that afternoon. and the Sun, Mercury, and Venus were also in Sagittarius. And under personal transits, I can see that I had Mercury trine my natal Jupiter. So I made those connections of that thing that I had just written, and okay, it's clearly Sagittarius, is clearly Mercury trine my Jupiter. Things like that. Another example is I found myself, this was from the 18th of December. So there's a sentence that goes, I found myself distracting myself by doing something more pleasant and enjoyable. And then in brackets, I put Sun conjunct Venus, because under general transits, I had put Sun conjunct Venus. So Sun was conjunct Venus in the sky. And I just kind of made that connection. And it's not something that you have to force. It's not like you have to put down every single transit of the day or every single aspect of the day. I just refuse to do that, at least at this point, because I just put down what I think is relevant for that day. So there's a lot of things that I maybe don't notice, for one thing, and then there's a lot of things that I just choose not to put down. But if I feel that something is relevant for the day, then I will put it down under general transits or personal transits. Even at some point, I might even put the experiences / observations as the first thing, and then maybe put the transits at the end, because right now I'm putting general transits first, and then personal transits, and then the experiences and observations. But I could switch that, because really it's not really about like meticulously logging all the transits or all the aspects or like what is going on astrologically. Really, it's about your experience and how the astrology relates to that. So it starts with the experience, really, and then you put the astrology like on top of it, if that makes sense. You're making the correlations then. So you already have an idea of how your day is going, or how it has gone, or what is going on for you, but you're trying to find like patterns and meanings. So you're already reflecting about your day and your experience, and then you're putting the astrology with that. It's not about looking through like, okay, Sun is in Capricorn, Venus is in Capricorn, and let's say, there's a square, there's this opposition, and then try to force meaning into that. That's not what it's about. It's about already having an idea or a sense of what is going on for you in that day, whether practically or just emotionally, or like what you're thinking about that day, what you're going through that day. And then you go look at the transits or the aspects, and you can kind of pick out which ones are relevant for that entry or for that day, right? For those experiences. So that's the way I do it. You can do it a different way, and I'm actually open to like other suggestions or other ways of doing it. So if anybody has any suggestions of how they keep an astrological journal, it would be interesting for me to read. And I've actually watched a couple of videos about this as well, which were very inspiring. Interestingly, on the 22nd of December 2025, at 8:05 p.m., I actually had kind of written more general transits than usual. I think I was just getting more into the writing of this journal, that it became more nuanced and complex. Not too much, because I don't want to overwhelm myself or anything like that. But like, I have, under general transits for that day, I have Moon in Capricorn and Aquarius, and then in brackets, entered Aquarius at 3:52 p.m. Mars in Capricorn, Moon finishing up its opposition to Jupiter. Moon trine Uranus, exactly by sign when Moon was in Capricorn, because Uranus is in Taurus, that's an Earth trine. Moon sextile Neptune, exactly by sign when Moon was in Capricorn. Moon conjunct Pluto, exact by sign now, as Moon has joined Pluto in Aquarius. And then Venus square Neptune, and then interestingly, I have Mercury biquintile Jupiter, and then in brackets I have minor background aspect. And normally I wouldn't necessarily count aspects like quintiles, biquintiles necessarily in transits, but if I feel that they're relevant in some way, then of course I will note them down. So in this case, I put down the Mercury biquintile Jupiter because I felt like it was part of the story. So literally, I wrote in this journal, Mercury biquintile Jupiter might also be a nice thing to note here as a minor background aspect in the sky right now. Mercury Jupiter has to do with learning and expanding the mind. Biquintiles have a slight magical tone to them, like the quintile, maybe just a bit weaker, a quirky aspect. perhaps my ability to tap in today is explained by that too, because that day, the 22nd of December, I was able to tap into just some intuition and, and like some higher thinking more than usual. So I put that down partly to the Mercury Jupiter biquintile. So that's why I put that down there. And there's other things that's why I called it a background aspect, because there was probably other major things that were going on that day that would, let's say, help me be more in tune with higher thinking and philosophy and like meaning making. But the Mercury biquintile Jupiter, it felt like a part of that. It felt like that was part of the play. So I decided to just put that down as well. But you have to do what is right for you and like what aspects resonate with you. So if you don't resonate with like quintile or biquintile or anything like that, you don't have to do that. But I just like to do whatever works for me at this point. And that is exactly the point of this. It's a personal thing. It's like my own personal diary, but I just hope that maybe somebody can take something from this and like maybe it'll inspire somebody to keep an astrological diary, because I think if you're interested in astrology, it's really helpful to keep one, I think, because it's actually been very fascinating and almost unbelievable how the intuition comes and flows and things just become clearer and start making more sense just from seeing little things, like even like this Mercury biquintile Jupiter, or I see that, okay, there's, moon square Pluto in the sky right now, or, Pluto is square my moon right now, and it's quite exact, and like this is happening, that is happening, and it just opens up this picture. It's like a painting of like what is going on for you, and you don't have to take everything into account, like I say, but it's amazing how especially if you're like intuitively inclined in general, it's amazing how you can kind of start to make the correlations quite easily when you're, let's say, typing. Like you just let the words flow. You write about your day, you write about your experiences that day, or what is going on for you that day, or whatever, where you feel you're at that day, and you add the astrology, and it just, in my case at least, and somebody's very interested in like astrology and like has been doing it for a while on some level, like it's amazing how the connections just come because I'm allowing it to flow. So yeah. I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, I hope this was interesting for someone. If you'd like more from me, do subscribe and leave a thumbs up if you like this, and leave a comment if you have any thoughts of keeping an astrological diary, or if you have any experiences with this, or share your own ideas, or share what you got from this video, or anything. I'm happy to read comments. And yeah, subscribe if you want more. Thank you.